Welcome to the Real Academy, brought to you each Saturday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time by
the Resilience DoctHers,
Dr. Sheikah Houston and Dr. Tammy Taylor, best-selling authors, consultants, and speakers of Create and Educate LLC. Create and Educate LLC is an educational consultant and literary firm that provides professional development to schools and community. Their goal is to transform organizations with the REALL resilient framework used to increase their school report card grades 2 and 3 grade levels in 1 year. REALL stands for Respect, Excellence, Accountability, Literacy, and Leadership. This framework is used to coach leaders and teachers and build student efficacy while putting systems in place that aligns the work of the school improvement, making the process manageable. When the work is manageable, teachers and leaders don't stress out or burn out.
The Resilience DoctHers.
Alignment systems are designed to help schools evolve and grow, all while instituting protocols and processes designed to promote collaboration and collegiality. The implementation of the alignment framework prevents some of the most common problems in education, where leaders sometimes aren't sure where to start, or in our new age of educating, leaders need a trusted sounding board that allows them to be vulnerable and transparent, preventing loneliness at the top. The framework doesn't just help leaders, but also prevents teachers from burning out from too many initiatives and embracing teachers as they are the experts. Finally, the framework extends to the children, helping them get engaged in school and solving a nationwide problem. Alignment systems are frequently referred to as a key element of success in the improvement process. In the sport of rowing, all rowers must put their oars in the water, succinctly creating a system for their boat to reach maximum speed. So schools that want to improve are bringing in
the Resilience DoctHers
to teach them all about the alignment systems that must be in place for school improvement to be accomplished at high levels. The dynamic duo provides insights into educational topics through their international platform, which includes educators, parents, and community members as a way to support important entities that make communities thrive. This is their way to pay it forward and provide the support they needed through their platform. Take a look. People who work with
the Resilience
describe them as an
DoctHers.
excellent and inspiring group of leaders. They get into the weeds of work with leaders through their TrustMate Institute that you should contact them about today by filling out the contact form on their website.
It's Super Saturday, everyone. Welcome to episode 231 of the Real Academy, brought to you by Create and Educate with your very own Resilience DoctHers. I'm Dr. Sheikah Houston.
And I'm Dr. Tammy Taylor. Good morning. We're so excited to continue season 5 as we build the foundations of resilient schools. So thank you for joining us.
Absolutely. And for our Real fam members who are normally with us, bear with us while we welcome all of our first timers. And while you're waiting, if you would, put in the comments, what is keeping you resilient in the work? And so that's what is keeping you resilient in the work. So if this is your first time tuning in and you're wondering, who are the Resilience DoctHers?
We are so super glad that you asked. We are best-selling authors, children's book authors, award-winning educators, and speakers who transformed our schools through report card movement, raising achievement 2 and 3 levels in just a single year.
Absolutely. And as senior staff developers for Create and Educate, we know that transformation is needed in multiple areas. So if behavior is something that you need support with, we can help. If students don't have reading stamina, bring us in for an author's visit. We can work with your staff on building resilient readers. And if you need to get off any of the lists, CSI, Priority, ATSI, we are your girls.
And if you can't bring us in just yet, keep tuning in to the Real Academy. We've impacted over 300,000 educators and nearly 7 million students through our free Fantastic Four PD each and every Super Saturday. We start each Saturday morning at 10 a.m. with Principal Sean Hurd, our brother in the work, and then yours truly follows Create and Educate in the Real Academy at 10:30, and then at 11 a.m. the Leaders Mentor and the GOAT in the AP and New Principals Academy with Principal Kafele. And then on Sundays it's rounded out with the PGP podcast with Dr. Marty Moreno and Principal Josh Tovar.
So please like, share, subscribe, send the stars, do all of the things that the platforms do, because we need help with these algorithms, and we say please and thank you. So as you know, if you're a regular Real Fam member, you know it is Real Fam shout out and announcement time. So we have a few announcements. Thank you to those of you who've been checking out our radio show with WGCD Radio. That's Parents Are First Teachers. It airs live on the radio station on Wednesdays and Saturdays. It's just 15 minutes. And if you can't catch it live, because I know some of you have tried, we have a podcast link that Brandon's going to put in the comments that you can download from. So every episode goes live after they have aired it on the podcast link. So he'll put that out there. And shout out to the after school program in Canada, who has placed a bulk order for Amir's Awakening. Also, shout out to Midwest City Middle School in Oklahoma. They have placed a bulk order. And shout out to Prince George County School District, where we are now vendors. So any school in that district that needs our services, we will be there in a few months. So we hope to be looking forward to any reaching out about any help that you need. Shout out to Mr. Chris Jackson and his team. He shows people how to earn in the stock market while keeping your 9 to 5. We met him at a conference that we were at, and he has basically earned, I think one time in one day, $40,000. So that's some people's salary in a day. But he has trusted Create and Educate to train his team using our framework in order to make sure that their coaching practices are aligned. So he has the wisdom to understand that frameworks don't just help people in education, they also help people in corporate America, in any organization, because alignment is needed in everything. So if you're an educator and could use some extra money, make sure you jump on to his session on Sunday. He's going to be telling people more about what he does. And Brandon's going to put that link in the comments as well from the private chat. It's in the private chat. Brandon, when you put both of those links in there. And shout out to Brandon, who is helping us today. He was in a parade last week. So now let's get to our Real Fam shout outs quickly. Let me scroll up to the top. Thank you for joining us, Mr. David Bell from Benton Harbor, Michigan. Arcella Austri, our queen right here in Charlotte. Dr. Edwin Garcia, thank you for joining us. One of our brothers in the work, Professor Laws in Greenville, North Carolina. Thank you for joining us. The GOAT is here, Principal Kafele. We always appreciate you. My mom, Beverly Hall, is here. Dr. Jones Chunu is here. Principal Kenyelle Sessions is here. September Devon Vance Daniels. Coach Dot McKeever Jeter. Principal Sean Hurt, who had us on fire this morning, talking about that great feedback, which fits in really well with what we're talking about today. Principal Hurt. Our brother in the work, Principal Josh Tovar. Another brother in the work, Dr. Joe Griffin, is here. And let me see if I missed anybody. Raquel Squall is here. Thank you for joining us. Queen Jacqueline Harriet from Canada. Thank you for joining us. Miss Stacy L. Joy. We appreciate you always. Thank you for joining us. And Dr. Rella Hicks is here as well. So please like, share, subscribe. Mr. Otis Kitchen is here. Principal Otis Kitchen, thank you for joining us. And Renee Bazemore, thank you for joining us. I think I got everybody. So we appreciate you all. We don't take it lightly that you could be doing multiple things, but you are intentional about being here with us. So as it's time for Super Saturday, we're going to get started with our episode for today, and it is episode 231, Accountability as a Tier 1 System. So today we're reframing accountability because it's not punishment, it's not micromanagement. It has to be clear, it has to have supportive systems that helps everyone grow.
For sure, because in many schools, accountability has become a very negative word, and the connotations that surround it are all negative, and people don't subscribe to systems of accountability because they associate it with being called out or getting written up or having some form of discipline. But what we want to make sure we stress this morning is that accountability is not punishment. It's not about being punished. Accountability is about providing clarity, crystal clear clarity surrounding expectations.
Absolutely, Tammy. And as leaders, one thing we have to do when people don't meet expectations, we have to pull out those mirrors because sometimes and oftentimes, because the expectations were not clear, because consistency hasn't been consistent or supported, then punishment is the reaction. And that is not what we need to do. Accountability teaches.
It
So
absolutely does.
absolutely. So in resilient schools, accountability starts at tier 1. It's a universal system for everyone. It's actually one of the systems that we use. So tier 1 accountability answers these 3 questions. What are the expectations? How do we know if we're meeting them? And what support exists if we're not? And at my school, we were able to do this through our data notebooks. I had one, all of the staff members had one, the students had one, and the students presented them to the parents during the parent conference time. So everyone knew what mark we were meeting, how we knew when we got there, and they knew that support existed if they didn't meet the mark.
Yeah, that's a very important aspect too of making sure that we're all on the same page. Data notebooks are an incredible tool for that. Another great tool and something that we use at my school were data protocols, and those protocols led the discussion surrounding what the data was saying, and it helped the teachers to individually and collectively in their POTs identify areas that were strengths, identify areas where there was still some room for growth, but it also helped them to see trends and patterns, because that's another important thing to keep in mind when you are talking about accountability. You're not talking about individualistic kinds of things when it comes to what your data is saying. You want to be sure that you are, as a team, owning what the data is telling you about what your students are able to do and what they still need support with doing. And those data protocols were a great tool for helping teachers to lead those discussions through their conversations with me during data meetings. And I'll be honest with y'all, when this first started, that was in response to the fact that I was the one doing all the conversing during those meetings. I was the one explaining, this is what the data is saying. I knew what the data was saying. What I needed to know was, did they know? Can you tell me what this data is saying and what this means for you and your instructional program in your classroom at your team. So those are very important tools that can help you with the accountability aspect of keeping us, as Sheikah said before, consistent with the expectations. And what we're here to tell you this morning is that when accountability shows up, and it doesn't show up until tier 3, schools are living in crisis mode. Tier 1 accountability will prevent escalation to that point.
Absolutely, Tammy. And when accountability, when you have it, the beauty of what Tammy just talked about, when it is in tier 1, when it's a tier 1 system, then you're not reactionary. You've planned for everything. So the beauty of Create and Educate super strengths is making sure that you have these in place from the beginning. You're starting with the right work. So those strengths are respect, excellence, accountability, literacy, and leadership. And you all know that these strengths form 3 core systems that we arrange everything around. Systems of respect, that's your belonging and your trust. You have the right climate and culture in place. You've been intentional about cultivating what you want that to look like. You have your systems of excellence, which is quality and consistency. That means there are high expectations. I used to have my Lizzie and Bella rule. If it's not good enough for my babies, those are my daughters, it's not good enough for anybody. And then systems of accountability, your follow through and your growth. And what did we just say that those were? What are your expectations? How do we know if we're meeting them? And what support exists if we're not? And what you're doing, as Tammy talked about, you're shifting that accountability from just you to everybody taking ownership of it. And I knew that my students took ownership of our vision when we were getting ready to start one of our map assessments. And one of the teachers called up and said, the children are saying you forgot to tell them what growth measure they're trying to get to for every grade level, what tells them that they're on grade level and meets the mark. And what did I do? I jumped right on there and thanked them for holding me accountable. And I told them what those marks were. And that's when I knew the culture had shifted in our building. Our children had taken ownership of the work.
Yes, and when they have taken ownership and they know exactly what it is you're expecting from them, guess what they do? They try to rise to that occasion, and most of the time they do. So that's when you start to see major shifts in what is happening in the building. And I wanted to go back to something because one of the things that's important for us to remember when we're talking about making sure that students are leading data discussions and teachers are leading data discussions, that comes through consistent modeling from you as the leader, from your coaches, from those of you on the instructional leadership team, to teach them how these conversations are supposed to occur. And I'll be honest, when we made that shift initially, it was that so I had to do some probing at first to make sure that we were all on the same page and that they were paying attention to the things that were significant as far as the protocols were concerned. So what happens though is once you model that and once they get a glimpse of what it is that's expected, as Sheikah said, you start to see that those are the expectations that we begin to live by. And I just want to leave this thought with everybody because Sheikah is spot on when she talks about making sure we're creating that culture of accountability in the school so that it just is a natural part of what we're doing. Because what happens when we have and enforce and make accountability this negative thing, without respect, accountability really looks like control. And people don't want to be controlled. Accountability without excellence is frustration. But when accountability is accompanied by in a respectful manner with excellence, guess what? Those things become empowering.
Absolutely, Tammy.
Now, I think, and we are going to make sure that this is a part again of what we share this morning, but reach out to us for more information if you need it, because tier one accountability strengthens all areas also of MTSS. Because when you're thinking about academics, it's clear instructional expectations with constant data reviewing. Behavior is consistent responses and restorative follow ups and direct instruction on what those behaviors are supposed to look like. In attendance is shared responsibility and early interventions. And with SEL is teaching self regulation and reflection.
Absolutely, Tammy. You are spot on with that. And accountability doesn't ask who's wrong. We are not looking to subscribe to the blame game and point fingers and putting tire marks on people's backs. We're not driving, throwing people under the bus. We are asking what systems need to be supported. And when you do that as a leader, the respect for you from your staff goes through the roof because everybody already feels beat down. Nobody needs to feel that anymore. So you really have to know how to ask the right questions, and you really have to know how to put that messaging in the right context as well. So the difference between healthy accountability and toxic accountability is just what we've said. It's leadership. Leaders create safety by making sure that you're modeling that reflection. You have to be transparent. Sometimes you have to say, hey guys, I thought this was going to go a certain way, but it didn't. So now we're going to monitor and adjust. You have to give feedback, like Principal Hurt just told us about, without shame. You don't have to demean people to give them positive, to give them the right feedback, and everything doesn't have to be, people talk about that happy sandwich. You put the good and then the bad part, and you say something good. People know when you're trying to play them. Keep it real. You can say things nicely, hold people accountable without demeaning them, because they know when you faking the funk, as Josh says and Principal Kafele says. So offering coaching before consequences makes sure that you are refining the system instead of blaming people. When you keep the focus on the system, then that keeps it to where people don't have to feel like you're stepping on them.
Yes, and when you keep the focus on the system, it allows you also the opportunity to be vulnerable with them, as Sheikah said, and let them know that you too are accountable. You're accountable as the building leader, because honestly, everything rides on the shoulders of the person who wears that crown, and that's what it says. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. So people know that because you sit in that seat, you are the buck stops with you. But what you also have to show them is, you know what, I'm not just accountable to my central office people. I'm not just accountable to my executive directors and assistant superintendent and superintendent. I'm accountable to you. I'm accountable to these children. I'm accountable to parents. I'm accountable because we're all in this together. This is why leadership coaching, walkthrough calibrations, POC alignments, MTSS audits, and teacher efficacy work matters. Accountability must be modeled before it can be expected.
Absolutely, Tammy. You are spot on and hit the nail on the head. And just to add to that, accountability isn't about coaching mistakes. It isn't a I got you. It isn't supposed to feel like, oh, we talk about those George Jefferson syndrome, running around with your arms swinging behind your back and, you the head, whatever in charge. Nobody want to hear that. It's about creating conditions for success, and you all have to feel successful and a part of the work. People respect you when you come alongside them to do the work, not that you're pushing the work down their throats or pointing at them to do the work. They want to see that we are doing the work.
That's real talk. And what happens, resilient schools are resilient and they do not fear accountability. they design it intentionally.
Absolutely. So, thank you for joining us for episode 231 of the Real Academy. This is all about accountability and making sure that it works as a system. So, next week, we're going to continue season 5 as we shift into literacy as a tier 1 system. So, make sure that you are back here on Super Saturday at 10 a.m., starting off with Principal Sean Hurt. Yours truly, Create and Educate at 10:30 in the Real Academy, and the Leaders Mentor and the GOAT in the AP and New Principals Academy, Principal Kafele at 11 a.m. And then on Sundays, join Dr. Madi Moreno and Principal Josh Tovar in the PGP podcast.
Yes, and catch the replay, share it with your leadership team, and then join us again here next Saturday for Super Saturday. We are the Resilience DoctHers, helping you to create and educate so that you can thrive.
Absolutely. And have a real amazing Super Saturday. Thank you, guys.